Hey guys, welcome to episode 1 of my Desert Only Iron Man series. In this episode, we're going to attempt to unlock the great city of Menaphos, which will require the completion of Diamond in the Rough and Stolen Hearts. We are also going to complete the pre-quests that will be required for future content in the desert, namely Restless Ghost and Gertrude's Cat. So here we are starting in the first city of Taverley, and we're going to teleport to Lumbridge. We're going to start the Restless Ghost and quickly grab the Ghostpeak Amulet. We're going to come back to this later, because first we're going to gather all the items necessary for Gertrude's Cat. First we're going to get the Woad Leaf from south of her house. And we're going to go back to Lumbridge. First we're going to pull our Refer a Friend Cracker and get some early money and equipment. And then we're going to try to figure out some way to get our raw sardine for the quest. Now, I first attempted to buy it from the store, but unfortunately, nowhere to be found. That's okay, we can catch one on our own. Now, like I said earlier, we're going to have to do all our training in the desert, so we'll have to catch that there and get our training there. But first, we're going to grab a bucket and get some milk, because we'll also need milk for the quest. So after we get this done, we are going to go to the desert and do our fishing training to the west of Al Kharid. This will be the location for most of the early fishing training in the game, until we can unlock trout after the Spirits of the Illid quest. But, for right now, we're going to stop at 5 fishing, which allows us access to the raw sardine, giving us all the items we need to complete the Gertrude's Cat quest. But before we finish up these quests, we are going to unlock the Premier Club Desert outfit. Now, we're going to be looking at this character for a very long time, so we might as well look good while we're doing it. Cosmetascape for the win. Now, we're going to give the ghost some head and finish up the Restless Ghost quest. This is one of the prerequisite quests for Icthurin's Little Helper and eventually Smoking Kills. And for a reward, we're going to get a XP lamp and some bones, but we're going to have to get rid of those because we are outside of the desert. Next, we're going to find some cats over by the lumber mill. I have to admit, cutscenes have come a long way, so kudos to Jagex. But we're going to finish up the quest. Again, we're going to get an XP lamp, and we're going to have to destroy that. And get back to the desert so we can start some combat grinding. Now, we won't have to do too much because the fights in these next 2 quests are pretty easy, but we need at least 1 gear upgrade. We're going to start by cooking the shrimp that we caught to give us some food for our combat, which gets us up to 6 cooking. Early gains, I know. And I went ahead and mined some copper and tin because I had the intention of smithing my own items, but I realized it was going to be super slow and not very necessary at this point, and went ahead and bought my weapons. So we got an offhand bronze scimitar to add on to our main hand that we got from the cracker. And we went ahead and bought a main hand and offhand iron scimitar for when we get 10 attack. I did all of my combat grinding on men. I might want to rephrase that later. But I got 10 attack, equipped my iron main hand and offhand, hashtag gear upgrades, and tried my hand at killing some Al Kharid guards, but as you can notice, it was severe splashscape, so we went back to grinding with men. On men. 2 men? Anyway, we get 15 attack, and we decide that that's good enough to finish up the quests. But first, we activate the Al Kharid Lodestone. This is going to be one of the most important pieces of content in the entire desert, and we'll get lots and lots of use out of it. After this, we will teleport to Lumbridge and run over to Draenor Village to find Ozan and start the Stolen Hearts quest. We'll start out by following this guy. I don't know how he doesn't see us. I have 2 thieving, 1 agility, but for some reason it's good enough, and we get to his lair. There's a stand-up with Leela, and we find out where we are going next, over to the beach. At the beach, we run into this mystery person and see this really cool cutscene. Nice Christmas lights in the background, very festive. Nothing says Christmas like zombies. And we get ready for the first piece of significant combat content in the series. But it is very short because it's a very easy fight. After this, we go back to Al Kharid for the worst piece of content in the desert, Rooftop Agility. What is this, old school RuneScape? I don't know. But after getting lost many times, you see I've already had to ask for directions, we finally get to the end. After going through the window, we complete the weights puzzle, which is actually pretty interesting. I enjoyed it. But then, unfortunately, we get caught, and it seems like everything's over. He gets thrown out, but one thing leads to another, and we complete the quest. Giving some nice XP in thieving, agility. I think we get some combat lamps. I didn't really know what to throw it on, so kind of just threw it wherever. I think I picked strength. Yeah. And this gave us a little bit of easier damage output when we did our extra training in future episodes. With all these gains complete, we decide to start the next quest. Thankfully, it's right at the same place, and we start Diamond in the Rough. Now, after getting lost in the desert a few times and doing some puzzles, you know, doing stuff like playing with poop and getting down and dirty with some dung cow fights, but we get to be rewarded with what, in my opinion, is one of the best cutscenes in the game. The preparatory scene for the boss fight with the two servants of Amascut. Now, obviously this fight isn't really that difficult. I go in with 15 attack, 1 defense, don't have any problems. As you can see, we take down the first one, get ready for that spec, and we take down the second one. Nice and easy. I don't think I used any food. And quest complete, giving us some nice XP in thieving and I don't know, some other skills. We go and use the XP lamps on prayer and constitution. With these 2 quests out of the bag, we are now finally ready to start the Jack of Spades quest. This is the quest that's going to give us access to Menaphos. So we start the quest with the guy in the palace, and we get to fly to the city. Very Aladdin-like, like a Disney princess. And we get to see the cutscene that Jagex made for their new city. Menaphos is going to be one of the most important pieces of content for this account. We can do pretty much every skill there is within its walls. It gives us access to shifting tombs, higher level combat equipment, and most importantly, corrupted scarabs, which will give us, in the early game, one of our only ways to train Slayer. And in the desert, Slayer will be one of the most important pieces of content for upgrading our gear and combat, and eventually reaching our goal of the Warden title. But before we can do any of this stuff, we're actually going to have to finish the quest real quick. There's not much left to do. We just follow the, quote, Jack of Spades around the city and find out that it's Ozan. He gives us the stuff back that he stole, and we get to give it back for some reputation in all the different factions. And we complete the quest, giving various XP and a myriad of skills. Not really that important. But we do get access to the great city of Menaphos. Now, before we finish up the first episode, we're going to unlock the Menaphos Lodestone, which will be the most important content in the game. We'll be using this basically all the time. Showing up on your screen next is the skills that we've gotten in the first episode. No major changes, but here it is. Stay tuned for the next episode where we complete the Spirits of the Illid quest and unlock higher level fishing.